Welcome to the Land Your Bet Sports Betting Show. Big slate here on Wednesday after a day off on Tuesday. Got 11 games to run through. I've got player prop projections in this one for you guys. Going to be taking a look at about 6 players that I'm still eyeing. Haven't placed any bets yet, and I want to make that clear for everybody. What I'm bringing you in these videos is the strong leans that I have. When I made a bet, I will tell you. So I haven't quite made a bet yet. All of those end up in the VIP Discord if you do want to make sure you don't miss a play. But I just want to make sure we're clear. These are the strong leans as I still wait for a few more projections to come out. So let's get into what I'm looking at, and hopefully this helps you find a play. If that all sounds good, go ahead and give the video a like. Let's get right into it. Reminder, though, if you do want to make sure you don't miss a single play that I'm making, go ahead and get into the description of the video. Got the wap.com link in there. Takes you right to the VIP Discord, and that'll get you, if you want a season pass, 40% off here. If you want to go ahead and skip the monthly price, get a nice little discount on all the NBA picks I'm making. Had 2 out of 3 bad days now in the last 3 days, which means we're primed for a heater. So let's kick it off with Tyrese Halliburton and his points and assists. And we're going over for him against the Magic defense that is somewhat depleted, but the Magic team is depleted, right? Paolo might just be the MVP of the league with how bad this Magic offense has looked without him now. 85 offensive rating. But I do think there's a weird stink around this game with the Pacers that is making this line way too low for the Magic, which makes you go, why are they only 5.5-point dogs to a Pacers team that's really on the come up? Well, I'm not too worried about it because Hallie is on the come up, and he's the reason that the Pacers are on the come up. Finally back. In the first 4 games of the season, 9 potential assists, 3.8 assists per game. This team was playing at about a 98 pace, which is nowhere near where they want to be. They were up above 102 for the most part last season, and when they were winning. I mean, and that's correlated to this year as well. When they play fast, they win. When they don't, they lose. They have 104 pace in their victories this year versus a 98 pace in their losses. I think Rick Carlisle and his point guard know we got to get things moving and get that pace going. And in the last 4 games, since they upped that pace to about 102, 19 potential assists for him, 11.3 assists per game for Hallie. Much better than those first 4 games, as we know. And Orlando is giving up the most assists per game versus point guards, which is the complete opposite of the way they played defense last year. They were top 5 rather in terms of limiting assists to point guards. And they're also giving up the 5th most points, which actually adds up because they do give points to point guards. They don't double the ball handler. And as a result, that person's able to go and get ISO plays and drive. So you'll probably see Franz able to get some of his stuff this tonight against this team. But I would say Hallie's definitely primed also to have a big game tonight. So I like him on the points and assists combined over there. As we get into this Knicks and Hawks game, another reminder, we got the live show every day, 5:30 p.m. Eastern. You guys bring your bets, jump in the comments, and I go ahead and show you all the tools I'm using to make sure that we find the best value on all these plays. So definitely jump in there today, 5:30 p.m., bring those bets and jump in the comments. All right, Jalen Johnson. Love Jalen Johnson this year. Big time usage. Had a very slow start to the season, about 3 games in, and has only picked it up since then. Now we're looking at a situation where he's still playing without Bogdanovich. We've got DeAndre Hunter questionable, and I prefer he doesn't play, but it doesn't matter for this bet. Jalen Johnson on the rebounds and assists is a good look versus this Knicks squad. He's averaging 15.1 RA on the season combined, so well over the line that he has for tonight. That's with 10 potential assists and 16.8, let's call it 17 rebound chances per game, right? So this dude is heavily involved in this area for both assists and rebounds, doing everything else in addition to scoring. But the points I don't like quite as much against the Knicks. They allow the second most assists per game to power forwards, not quite as bad on the points. But this is the dude that's going to be the second option for this team, especially when Bogey's out. And even when Bogey comes back, I still think they're going to continue to prioritize Jalen Johnson. Not only his minutes, which are up at about 36 per game, but also his involvement in the offense. He's really become the secondary option for Trey. As soon as Trey gets doubled, which he's getting doubled a lot right now up top at the top of the key, they force the ball out of his hands. It usually goes right into Jalen Johnson. He's either the second pass or the third pass, and the guy either scoring or making the play in terms of his playmaking once he gets that pass from Trey. And now he's got an imbalanced defense because they doubled Trey. 4-on-3 for Jalen Johnson. Really like him to continue to get the assists in these situations. I mean, 10 potential assists for a guy this size is absolutely insane and only shows you he's got the second most touches on the team as well because they want the ball in his hands, whether he's scoring or making plays for others. And as far as the rebounds go, he's going to be guarded by OG Anunoby and probably doing the same on defense, guarding OG Anunoby. Power forwards who go up against OG are very good at getting rebounds because they're usually bigger than him. He's not a very big guy for power forward, which is why the power forward position does get a good amount of rebounds against this team as well. And he's also not necessarily going to be able to stop Jalen Johnson from making those passes over him because Jalen Johnson's so much bigger. So I actually don't mind the matchup against an amazing defender in OG Anunoby. I'm still happy to take rebounds and assists for Jalen Johnson. Another play I haven't put in yet, but I love looking at Josh Hart's props when he's going up against a poo-poo defense like Atlanta, in addition to a team that plays very fast like Atlanta. So when you play fast pace, this is the man that leads you in transition. He has the most points in transition. He actually has the most assists in transition as well for Josh Hart. So he's the guy leading the break, especially because he can just get those rebounds and go. So with that in mind, I kind of like the double-double for him in this one. I think all of the stats, PRA, are good. Otherwise, if you just wanted to take two of them, I would make sure I add the points in there because he's also going to be getting a lot off a spot up, and Atlanta is terrible defending the spot up. So still want to take a look at a few things for Josh Hart to make sure that I like this play, but this is one that I definitely plan on looking at very closely and playing and probably putting that in the VIP Discord today. Najee Marshall, man, what a pickup for the Dallas Mavericks. This dude has been awesome for them this season, and now they're facing a situation where their starting power forward is out. That's PJ Washington. I could make a case that Najee Marshall would be better on this team and in this offense as the starter and primary power forward over PJ Washington. I really, really could. He's such a good fit with Luka. His passing is way better than PJ Washington. He's way more 3 and 4 dimensional rather than just being able to shoot and get rebounds, which is the only two things that PJ Washington can do. So when you put Najee Marshall in there, you see what happens. Last game where he played without PJ Washington, played 34 minutes, had a 21, 5, and 6 in that game, 25 and 6 rather in the points. And that was in part because Gafford got run off the court against the Pacers, who I just told you are finally picking up that pace and playing a lot more transition ball. Well, Najee Marshall's the dude you want in for that, not Daniel Gafford, and to a degree, not even PJ Washington as much as Najee. And now you're going up against the Bulls, who are going to keep playing at the fastest pace in the league, because that's kind of all they have. They are terrible on defense. They are terrible against power forwards on defense. And I probably would have taken some PJ Washington stuff, even though I don't like betting on PJ because he's very two-dimensional. Like I said, I do like betting on Najee, who can do a bevy of things and has shown already this season that he has multiple games with at least 3 boards and 3 assists and multiple games with double-digit points. But those were all in 20 to 22 minutes per game. If he gets the 30-plus that we saw him play last game where Gafford got run off the floor, you can even project this out to about 33, 34 minutes. I love Najee Marshall in this game and think he's somebody that you should definitely be attacking as he's so involved in transition and will be getting a bunch of boards and minutes because Gafford might not be able to play, and Lively is also questionable. So if Lively's out, Gafford's not meant for this game, this is a huge Najee Marshall game. Unfortunately, I'm not bringing you much but waffling here with Zach Edey, but I wanted to point some stuff out here and even maybe use Zach Edey as a reason to bet on Anthony Davis tonight, who is going to be playing up against this Grizz squad. But starting with Edey, we at least have to point out that in the last 3 games, everything's going up for him. He's cleared 20 minutes in the last 3, 22, 23, and 29 minutes that he played against the Nets in their last game, another loss to the Nets by 2 points. But the reason that he's playing more minutes against a team like the Nets is they have a center that doesn't really pull out to the wings in Nick Claxton, not a shooter, a dude that's playing all around the paint, right? And if you look at the games that he's played this season, he does seem to get a few more minutes in games that have true centers versus teams that are playing a lot more versatilely, maybe a little bit more small ball and getting him off the floor. The Lakers are allowing the 4th most rebounds per game to center. And I would be looking at rebounds for this instead of the points for Edey. But the points aren't too bad either at 10.5, but I like the boards at 7.5 rebounds. The problem is I don't know if he's going to get 29 minutes tonight because of the last 2 things I wrote down here, which are he's not going to be chasing Anthony Davis out to the 3-point line. And Anthony Davis is looking at probably about 3 or 4 attempts from deep in this one. The Grizzlies give up like the 4th most threes to centers. We saw this work with Brook Lopez the other day playing against the Grizzlies because Zach Edey ain't coming out to that 3-point line. And if he does, he's so much less worthwhile and more worthless than he is when he's able to stand next to the rim. So it doesn't seem like a good matchup because you take him off AD. Now you're talking about putting him on Rui, who's also able to play from the perimeter a lot more and drive to the basket on Edey. So I'm not sure if he's going to be in line for the amount of minutes, but it seems like they want to keep it going. And since Jaren Jackson Jr. has been back, Edey has actually had more minutes and been more of a staple on the team and in the lineups probably because they know they have a good shooter and somebody that can at least stretch the floor in Jaren Jackson Jr., right? As opposed to having guys around Edey that can't shoot. So I'm not really positive yet what to do with him. I want to see what the run projections are for Edey before I put a bet in him. I'm leaning over, but right now I'm also just in the stay away zone. Another bet I haven't put in yet, but I think it's a sneaky good look. Trayce Jackson-Davis assists. Not something that I believe you had expected to see talked about in this video, was assists for a center power forward style player for the Warriors who's averaging like 19 minutes on the season. You're like, why in the hell would I take assists for him? Well, in just 18 and a half minutes per game, he's averaging 5.1 potential assists. He's had multiple games with more than 5 potential assists. And Boston is 5th worst at limiting power forward assists. Do you call TJD a power forward? Do you call him a center? Is Draymond the center? I don't really know, but I know that big men are getting assists against this team. And TJD is a guy that's been a very good passer. A lot of times it's off offensive rebounds. But the fact of the matter is, he's getting them. The potentials are there in addition to the assists. So it's not really fluky that he's gone over this number in all but one game this season. He has at least 2 assists. That's insane. So I do think he's good for 2 assists tonight. It's pretty good plus money. It's probably worth a sprinkle. The reason that I still haven't played it is the Celtics are so good. They don't give up assists, whether you're a center, a power forward, or whatnot. It's the only position they give it up to. 3rd versus centers limiting assists, 7th overall limiting assists for Boston. So it's a little bit shaky, but it's kind of sneaky. And for plus 135, I'd feel really, really, really good if I hit this one. So I'll probably be playing it. I'll let the VIP Discord know either way. One more reminder, outlier.bet, one of the best tools around, the one-stop shop that I'm using when I see you guys on the live show at 5:30 p.m. Eastern every day. Go ahead and check out the description of the video. Got a link to this platform for you guys so you can check it out for 7 days free and see if you like it before you go ahead and get it for yourselves. But had a lot of people in the free part of the Discord as well already signed up to outlier.bet, as this has been super helpful for us to find that value. But continue to follow along if you would. I'm going to be there with you guys 5:30 p.m. Eastern today on the live show. Going to be getting a Thursday night football video out as well tonight if you're interested in that. So make sure to continue to follow along, give that video a like, and until I see y'all next, happy betting.